Okay, so let's set the scene. It's February 6th, 2026. The Volokolamsk Highway in Moscow.
Not exactly a quiet side street.
No, not at all. For anyone who doesn't know Moscow, this is a huge, major artery into the city. It is just buzzing with traffic.
And it's covered by one of the most sophisticated surveillance systems on the planet. I mean, cameras everywhere.
Exactly. And yet, right there, in the middle of all that, you have a targeted hit on one of the most protected men in the entire Russian Federation. It sounds like something out of a Cold War novel.
It really does. It creates this cognitive dissonance, doesn't it? You expect these things to happen in the shadows.
We're in a dark alley somewhere.
Right, not under the bright lights of a 10-lane highway. But that's exactly where Lieutenant General Vladimir Alexeyev was shot.
And we need to be really clear about who this guy is. This isn't just some random general.
No, absolutely not. We're talking about the Deputy Director of the GRU, the Military Intelligence Service.
The main directorate of the General Staff. I mean, this is the agency behind everything from, the Skripal poisoning to those Unit 29155 operations all over Europe.
He's a central figure. Alexeyev isn't just a bureaucrat. He is, for all intents and purposes, one of the key architects of Russia's modern gray zone warfare.
So he's the one overseeing the paramilitaries, the contractors, all the dirty work.
That's the one. So taking a shot at him, I mean, that's like trying to hit the deputy director of the CIA on his morning commute in Washington, D.C.
Oh.
It's audacious.
Extremely audacious. The source material says he was near his residence, he was ambushed, shot multiple times.
In the back, yeah. The report says he's in critical condition but still alive.
But his survival is almost secondary, isn't it? The real story here is the breach of security, the fact that this could even happen.
Oh, absolutely. The GRU is supposed to be the hunter, not the hunted. When one of their top guys gets hit in his own backyard, that sends a tremor through the entire security establishment.
And the weapon choice is fascinating to me. The report mentions a Makarov pistol with a silencer was found at the scene. That feels almost too simple. I mean, the Makarov is like the standard issue sidearm of the entire Eastern Bloc. It's not some high-tech weapon.
No, it's not. But that detail, the Makarov, it actually tells us a lot. It's not a high-velocity round.
Right.
So to be effective, especially against a target who might be wearing some kind of light body armor, which you'd expect for a man of his rank.
You have to be close.
You have to be very close. We're talking meters, not blocks away. This wasn't a sniper. This was someone who walked right up behind him, put rounds on target, and then just vanished.
Which suggests an incredible level of professional indifference to the risk, or just desperation. But what happens next is where this story goes from a Moscow crime scene to a full-blown geopolitical crisis.
Because the narrative war starts immediately.
Instantly. Before the crime scene tape is even fully up, it feels like, you have Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov at a microphone.
And this is where you have to look at the what they call reflexive control. He didn't just blame Ukraine. I mean, that's almost standard procedure at this point.
Of course.
He blamed Ukraine for a very specific reason. The quote was, for trying to thwart any possible peace negotiations.
Possible peace negotiations. That is such a specific, calculated phrase.
It is brilliant in a very dark, Machiavellian way. Think about what that one statement accomplishes.
Okay.
First, it puts the idea out there that peace talks were actually happening or were about to happen.
Right, which the West is desperate to hear, and a lot of hardliners in Russia probably hate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, by accusing Kyiv of trying to kill the talks, Lavrov positions Russia as the one who wants peace and Ukraine as the violent spoiler.
It completely traps the narrative, because when Ukraine denies the attack, which their foreign minister Andrei Sybiha did very forcefully, they're just defending themselves against a murder accusation. They aren't even getting to argue about the peace talks.
It totally reframes the conversation. Sybiha's denial to Reuters was firm. He said Ukraine had nothing to do with the attack. But it's too late.
The mud has been thrown.
Yeah. The story that Kyiv kills peacemakers is already out there, circulating in the global south, playing to their domestic audience. It turns a massive security humiliation into a diplomatic weapon.
So while the diplomats are playing this, this game of 4D chess, the FSB is apparently breaking land speed records on the investigation.
This is the part of the file that is just wild.
I couldn't believe it. The shooting is on February 6th. By February 8th, 2 days later, the FSB announces they've got their man.
Not just that they have him, but where they caught him, in the United Arab Emirates.
That's the part that just doesn't add up for me. The UAE, in 48 hours. I mean, extradition treaties exist, but that's normally a process of months. Lawyers, paperwork, diplomatic wrangling. You don't just call up Dubai and say, hey, put this guy on the next plane and he's back in Moscow for dinner.
You do if the relationship is operating on a level far beyond normal diplomatic channels. That speed implies a direct, almost executive-level agreement.
So real-time intelligence sharing.
It has to be.
Yeah.
For the FSB to track a suspect from a Moscow crime scene, identify him, find his flight to the UAE, coordinate with Emirati security to arrest him, and get him flown back, all in 2 days. That is staggering efficiency.
It's almost unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, if you look at past investigations like the Nemtsov murder, they took a long time and the results were always murky.
Right.
But here they have this neat, tidy package. Let's look at the suspect they named. Lubomir Korba.
The profile they've released is almost, well, it's almost too perfect for the narrative Lavrov is spinning.
How so?
Korba is 65 years old. He's a Russian citizen, but, and this is the key part, he's originally from the Ternopil region in western Ukraine.
Ternopil. Okay, so that's a known stronghold of Ukrainian nationalism.
It fits the radical Ukrainian saboteur box perfectly. It checks every single box.
And the FSB claims he entered Moscow in December 2025, specifically on instructions from Ukrainian intelligence. A sleeper agent, basically.
That's the story. But again, this is where we have to apply that critical eye. Our source material notes something really important here.
What's that?
The FSB released surveillance video. It shows someone throwing an object, presumably the gun, into the snow. They have the man in custody. But they have not released a single piece of forensic evidence that actually links this specific man, Korba, to pulling the trigger.
So we have a guy who fits the profile perfectly, arrested in a friendly country at record speed, but the actual link, the smoking gun, is still missing.
It's pending. And that raises the questions, right? Is Korba the shooter, or is he just the most convenient person they could find who had a Ukrainian birthplace on his file?
That is the verification gap.
And in these high-stakes intelligence conflicts, that gap is usually where the truth is hiding. The speed of the arrest serves the state. It tells the Russian people, yes, we were hit, but look how powerful we are. We caught him instantly. It restores that aura of control that the shooting shattered.
Speaking of shattering control, we can't just talk about Alexeyev, because this wasn't the only attack on a general in Moscow that week.
No, and this is the piece of the puzzle that turns a single assassination attempt into a potential pattern.
We also have Lieutenant General Fanel Sarvarov.
Right. While Alexeyev was being rushed into surgery, reports started coming in about a car bomb in southern Moscow.
And the outcome for Sarvarov was definitive. He didn't survive.
No. The Russian investigative committee later confirmed he died from his injuries. And the method here, a car bomb. It creates a very different psychological impact than the shooting.
It really does. A suppressed pistol on a highway is surgical. It's almost quiet. A car bomb is a weapon of terror. It's loud, it's messy, it causes collateral damage. It's a message sent with fire and shrapnel.
It creates a sense of chaos. And if you are a member of the Russian military elite in Moscow right now, you're looking at two very different threats. You have to worry about the quiet professional walking up behind you on the street, and you also have to worry about turning the key in your car's ignition.
It almost feels like a throwback to the chaotic days of the 90s or the fighting in Chechnya. But this is 2026 in the capital. This is supposed to be the secure fortress.
And two generals targeted in the capital within the same rough time frame. That looks like a campaign.
Whether it's the same perpetrators or not.
Right. Whether it's Ukrainian special forces, as Lavrov claims, or, and we shouldn't rule this out, internal factional fighting.
The turbulence within the Ministry of Defense.
Exactly. The result is the same. For the elite, the safe zone is gone. The message is, you are not safe.
And I want to circle back to that internal angle for a second. We know the GRU and the FSB have historic rivalries. There have been purges, power struggles.
Of course.
Is it possible these two events have nothing to do with Ukraine at all?
It is entirely possible. In these very opaque systems, like the Russian security state, cleaning house can often be made to look like enemy action.
So you get a 2-for-1 deal?
Pretty much. If you want to eliminate a rival, doing it while tensions are at their peak with Kiev gives you the perfect cover. You kill a general, you blame Ukraine, and you not only get rid of your problem, but you also rally domestic support for the war. It's a win-win for whoever did it internally.
But the official story is this network. The FSB has named accomplices. A Viktor Vasin, arrested in Moscow, and a woman, Zenaida Serbritska, who they claim has fled to Ukraine.
Which is very convenient, isn't it?
How so?
It explains why they can't round up the whole cell. We got the shooter, but the handler got away to enemy territory. It leaves the threat active, which justifies more security crackdowns, more surveillance.
Let's just go back to the UAE angle one last time, because that extradition, it really sticks with me. It sets a huge precedent.
It really does.
If the UAE is now basically a no-go zone for anyone Russia puts on a list, that changes the map for intelligence operatives, for dissidents, for business people trying to avoid sanctions.
The UAE has always tried to walk this tightrope, maintaining good ties with the West and with Moscow, but handing over a suspect in 48 hours without any public legal process, that is a clear tilt.
It's a huge signal.
It signals that when push comes to shove on matters of state security, Abu Dhabi is willing to prioritize its relationship with the Kremlin. The idea of Dubai as a neutral safe haven, that's probably gone.
So if we bring this all together, we have a GRU deputy director fighting for his life, a dead lieutenant general, a suspect plucked out of the Middle East in record time, and this huge diplomatic war over whether this was a hit on a man or a hit on peace.
And that diplomatic war is the real engine here. Lavrov's narrative is designed to fracture Western support for Kyiv. It's meant to make you, the listener, ask yourself, wait, why would they kill a general if he was working on negotiations? It plants that tiny seed of doubt.
Even if Alexeyev, a military intelligence chief, likely had nothing to do with the actual negotiations.
His job is war, not peace. But by draping his shooting in the flag of negotiations, Lavrov turns a soldier into a martyr for diplomacy. It's incredibly cynical.
But effective. Which brings us to the so what of this whole deep dive. Why does this matter to someone sitting in New York or London?
It matters because it suggests the boundaries of the conflict are shifting.
Yeah.
For a long time, there seemed to be an unspoken rule that the top leadership in the capitals was more or less off limits.
Right.
If that role is now gone, if Moscow itself is a free fire zone, then the potential for retaliation and escalation grows exponentially. When the generals start dying at home, the gloves tend to come off everywhere else.
It also raises serious questions about the stability of the Russian regime itself, doesn't it? If you can't protect your own deputy director of the GRU on a main road, how firm is your grip on power, really?
That's the paradox. The harder they clamp down, the more these cracks seem to show. And the speed of the solution, the immediate arrest, is an attempt to just spackle over that crack before anyone can look too closely.
I want to leave our listeners with a final thought on that narrative battle. We've talked about the weapon, the suspect, the location, but the most powerful weapon in this whole affair, it seems to be the story itself.
The story is doing all the heavy lifting.
So here's the thought. If an assassination attempt, and it doesn't matter who pulled the trigger, can be used so successfully to freeze or even kill diplomatic efforts, what does that tell you about the peace process in the first place?
It tells you that it's incredibly brittle.
Exactly. If all it takes is one bullet and one press conference to derail the entire idea of peace, was there ever a real foundation for it to begin with? Or has the peace process just become another theater of war where the casualties are used as props?
A very disturbing thought. It suggests the narrative of the attack has become more powerful and maybe more useful to some than the attack itself.
A lot to think about. We'll be watching to see if that verification gap ever closes. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
Keep looking closer. The details always matter.